way. And one would say the president. So I would pose a question, part one and part two. Is the president an open field? Is he the lizard? Why? Because you look at Mount Kenya, and many would say that is a lost cause. You know, he's wasting his time in Mount Kenya. That's number one. Number two, you look at if the president today sees, or has he seen as a strategist, that Mount Kenya is gone, therefore he's looking away, that perhaps I need to consolidate ODM, the western part of the country, and Nyanza, and the cost for him to be president in 2027.
So one thing, he's not per se a lizard. I would rather say a hawk, because its strength is in the tree, yes, but it is only still little in the field. Why do I say so? I don't think Mount Kenya is a complete write-off. Because if you say a lost cause, it will be a write-off. It's just it's like an insurance car, like a vehicle that has crashed, and the insurance gives you a write-off and compensates you fully. That's not the case. Why do I say so? If you look at the contest they have had within Mount Kenya, within the by-election, tells you it's not a write-off. It is a fight. Yes, that's why I'm saying he will not consolidate the 85% that he got in 22. But I don't think it's a lost cause. If UDA has succeeded to win all the by-elections within Mount Kenya, that tells you something. And that is enough motivation to keep the UDA ruling party, to give it a motivation to fight. Now, that is number one. And where was the fight? Mostly in the Mount Kenya East, where Kithure Kindiki comes from. For me, that was a plus. I honestly think that was a referendum on Kithure Kindiki's capacity and ability to mobilize. And if he succeeded to deliver the wards as well as the constituency in Berea North, it was more or less like an audition of some sort that, don't write me off yet. I think I can be a key cog in the wheel of the president to get something out of Mount Kenya. But also, you are very right. There's also the delicate balance of the ODM regions. And there's a problem with the ODM regions. Raila Odinga had the ability and capacity to give you a wholesome. It's like sitting on the table waiting for the food to be served. So you would have certainty. I want a 3-course meal, 1, 2, 3, and you'll be delivered. So Raila then had ability to deliver ODM as a wholesome product. That is not the case. So the president now is forced to venture out and approach the regions independent of each other. How he will approach the Western region, he may even have a different approach for the counties within a region. So that if he goes to Western, he'll split Western into 3. You have Bungoma, which is tied together with Trans Nzoia. He has to do Vihiga together in a way with Kakamega. And then you have Busia, because Busia is always considered to be a strong orange space. But again, his approach would have to be, so Western divided into 3, have a direct showing. If you go to Luo Nyanza, again, you split Luo Nyanza from Kisii. How he will approach Kisii, independent of Luo Nyanza, has to come to play. So that you see a president now doing more than what he was to do if Raila Odinga was present. So that then brings why you see the ODM then has ability. The remnant of the ODM and under the youth leader now, the party leader, Oburu, having this ability to say, this is what we want. So the work of the Oburu-led ODM, which is basically the mainstream ODM, their biggest task at hand is to try maintain some semblance of existence of the Orange family as it were. For example, their stronghold was always Western, Nyanza, Coast, and the pastoralist areas, especially if you talk about the mass speakers. Their job will always be to front one, more or less like a one formation. I feel they're struggling to do that, and that's why they would posture and say, if you deliver for us the deputy presidency, we are able to consolidate this. Not a case, because I think it is purely dependent on the president's outreach rather than. But for ODM, it's a plus, because in that fight, at least they can get something. They can be able to get zoning within Luo Nyanza, and they can get a few more slots than what they have now, but not the deputy president. That's what I think.
You know, Mheshimiwa, I call you Mheshimiwa because you've been a speaker of a county assembly, right? And if you look at what you're talking about, is really the hard political strategy. But if you were to look at this from a constitutional legal perspective, the DP position is like almost nothing. You are an assistant. You basically sit and wait to be sent somewhere, given responsibilities, etc. Why do you think it is exerting this enormous interest from political parties, particularly big political parties like ODM, because you are a DP, you are all by constitution. The legal responsibility of a DP really in the context of Kenya